Who's your receivers coach this year?
Got a bunch of guys. Got to ask Coach Belichick,
And who's your offensive coordinator or pass game coordinator?
You're going to have to ask Coach Belichick that one.
Okay, fair enough. I thought that's what you say.
Nelson Aguilar regarding the Patriots. Yeah, he was with the Eagles. He had a solid single year with the Raiders, so solid that the Patriots swooped in and grabbed him. What do you expect from him out of year two?
I like Aguilar's game. I do. And again, I think that offense is just going to continue to go in the upward direction. We saw Mac Jones get more comfortable as the year went on, be a little more aggressive throwing the ball down the football field. And again, as you've always heard me say, Mike, there was a lot of new pieces on that offense last year with a rookie quarterback. And what you always hear me say is that offense ain't that easy to learn. So I think between, hey, they got a few new pieces in there, the offensive line be a little bit better, and then, hey, we got, a weapon or two that are different with Mac Jones in year two. I think you're going to see an offense that's a little less conservative this year, a little more aggressive and playmaking instead of being all about execution and not messing the game up.
Yeah, and Mac Jones is going to be the key to what extent the offense elevates. Here is Aguilar on the question of whether or not Mac Jones is going to be a stronger quarterback in year two. Here's what Aguilar had to say.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely trained his butt off. I can tell that, and I see it every day when he comes in here. He works his butt off. He's here every day, putting the time in. And obviously when he throws the football well, really well, and I'm impressed with what he does every day, how he works.
One thing that we're noticing this year, and maybe I've missed it in past years, but the quarterbacks seem to be putting in a lot more body work. Yeah, Joe Burrow, when he showed up last week, he looked
right,
thicker and bigger and more muscular.
Right.
And Zach Wilson, bigger and thicker, still looks like he's 12, but bigger and thicker and more muscular. Mac Jones sounds like, a little less doughy,
right?
A little more
Russell Wilson
more
throwing
muscular.
The pitch out in Denver. We had the same observation, right? You thought he looked thicker.
Yeah.
It's the time of the year where you do that. You build some armor because some of it's going to get shaved off a little bit through your, constant running, practicing, doing all of that, this time of the year in OTAs and the training sessions. So I think that's part of it too. And then I think really the other aspect of it is just that, not that the quarterback position is as physical as when we grew up and everything, but these quarterbacks are running the ball more now too, to where I think it's got to be on their radar a little to go, you know what, I could use a little armor on my arms and my shoulders and my pecs. I'm going to have to lower my shoulder a few times every game and get a first down or, kind of get in the mosh pit to a degree. I think there's that aspect there. And, hopefully Mac Jones has, changed his body a little bit to be a little less doughy.
Yeah, and look, the pads are only going to do so much. I remember when Brett Favre lost like 20 pounds one off season.
Yeah, right.
And it was harder for him to keep his streak going.
Sure.
You've got the natural protection of your internal organs and the ligaments and the bones and everything else when you have extra flesh covering them. It's natural padding for your body and for the important things that allow you to keep playing. And so there is a sweet spot that you want to hit there where you want to have enough. You want to have enough that you're protected, but you don't want to have so much that you can't move.
You're constricted, right. You don't want to be that. That's exactly right. And Mac Jones, I think, you brought up Joe Burrow, and that's kind of where I wanted to go with Mac Jones. After year one, we went with Joe Burrow. Hey, it was really good. I mean, you could see he's a natural. I wish, and you might remember me saying this, I kept going, I wish he would just throw with a little more power. I wish he could just get a few more, RPMs on the ball. I think it would take his game to the next level. And then we got to training camp, remember? And that's all he would talk about. I worked on throwing the ball harder and, being a little more explosive throwing the ball. I have the same feeling with Mac Jones. It was a phenomenal first year to be there in New England and do what he did. But if I had one thing that I would take away, and maybe even more than Joe Burrow here, I would just go, man, we got a little more pep on the ball, a little bit more like we got to put the ball into some tighter windows, and it can't always be about timing and rhythm and all the time. It's just the game's not always like that. That would be my one thing I think he needs to adjust, and hopefully that does happen for his sake and the Patriots.
He really has changed his overall look. Remember one of the criticisms of him coming out in the draft, and I don't know if it was an Alabama equipment manager issue. He just never looked like his uniform fit him right.
Yeah, right.
He didn't have the look of a quarterback. And then all of a sudden, it's like Superman dropped out of the sky in New England.
He looked good. Looks good in the Patriot uniform.
It was a completely different vibe. It was a completely different look, and that was before they got rid of Cam Newton. They had Superman, and they put Mac Jones in the Superman suit and decided they didn't need Cam Newton anymore. So we'll see what he can do moving to year 2.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.